First Take is brought to you by Popeye's Chicken Sandwich.
You call going to Golden State the weakest move you've ever seen.
Yeah.
I wanted to prove him wrong on the basketball court and show whoever that was listening to him that wasn't weak as a basketball player.
I meant what I said when I said that. But where I had to change course was when people were trying to interpret that as me saying he's weak. No, that's not what I was saying. I was saying he's so great. How dare you join our already juggernaut?
That was Stephen A. on the boardroom when Kevin Durant took his talents to Golden State and the fallout from that move. And then he made another major move. That was to Brooklyn, where he hoped to play in a big three again. However, tonight it'll likely be a big one. James Harden upgraded to doubtful with the hammy. Kyrie Irving out with the ankle. Stephen A., what is at stake for KD tonight?
Says he's got to get it done. The Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion, are not winning this series without Kyrie and James Harden. It's not going to happen. After they went up 0-2, they were up 49 points. We saw an annihilation in place, and the Bucks showed up for Game 3, which we both predicted would happen. But still, we didn't see any way that the Brooklyn Nets were going to lose this series so long as they were healthy enough to play. That's not the case. Kyrie Irving and James Harden are both out. And I don't expect the Brooklyn Nets to win this series without Kyrie and James Harden. But who knows if they would be available for Game 7, which takes us to Game 5. Because Milwaukee's winning Game 6. They're not losing Game 6 in Milwaukee. They will win that game. So to me, it comes down to tonight. And where I became one of my most famous quotes, Max and Molly, was in 2001. When I was a beat writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer covering Allen Iverson and the Philadelphia 76ers. My boy Kevin Frazier for Entertainment Tonight always brings this up because they were interviewing me and I said the Lakers in 5, it's nothing to discuss. And everybody was like, well, why ain't you calling a sweep? And I said, oh, AI will get you one. AI will get you one. 6 feet, 160 pounds, soaking wet. The answer, Allen Iverson rolled into the Staples Center and dropped 48 and stepped over Ty Lue to clinch the deal. It was just one game. I knew they wouldn't win another, but he got you one. Because in the game of basketball, when you are that dude, when you are that superstar caliber player, you can get a game. Not the series, but a game. That's what we're asking Kevin Durant to do tonight. Please understand something. I don't know if anybody knows this. Max, I don't know if anybody has said this before. Kevin Durant is the greatest player in the history of New York. There's been not Clyde Frazier in 1971, not Patrick Ewing, not Carmelo Anthony, no one. Kevin Durant is the greatest basketball player to ever represent the city of New York in basketball.
That's true.
Period. There's no doubt about it, okay? You can, 7 feet, arguably, one of the top 3 scorers in the history of basketball. You can't just show up for one game, although you're 44 games removed from that Achilles injury. You can't show up for one night and get one game. I believe he can. I believe he will. I believe a night like tonight, KD drops 50. And it saves Brooklyn for a few days, hoping that Kyrie and or James Harden can come back for Game 7 because they're going to lose Game 6. They don't even need to travel to Milwaukee.
You don't get to get you can't get away with that. Time out. Wait a minute. KD doesn't have Kyrie or James Harden, right? You know who else doesn't have Kyrie or James Harden? Giannis. He never has Kyrie or James Harden. When he plays KD, the second best player in the series will always be on KD's team. Middleton and Holiday show up as stars sometimes, which is why they're not perennial all-stars. They're sometimes all-stars. Harden and Kyrie, those guys show up all the time. That's why they're perennial all-stars, and in Harden's case, and a perennial MVP candidate. Now, all of a sudden, Giannis has the second and third best player, outside of Giannis and KD in the series. Now it's KD, Giannis, and then the next two best players are both on Giannis's team. And now all of a sudden KD gets off the hook? Why? Well, you weren't letting Giannis off the hook. I was. I'm not expecting KD to win the series now. He doesn't have a set. He still has Joe Harris, shoot the lights out. Still has Blake Griffin.
I'll answer your question.
Blake Griffin, good. He hit you with a double-double, basically averaging for the series. And if he needs to step up, he's capable of more. We saw him posterize Giannis. Physically, he looks good again. No. If you're not letting Giannis off the hook, then KD doesn't get off the hook either in this case. And if you think KD can win one game, well, look, when you say a star can get you one, I remember LeBron James had one game of Kyrie Irving against the Warriors in 2015. They lost that game in overtime. Then he didn't have Kyrie the rest of the series. Also didn't have Kevin Love all series. Got two. You're saying one game to start a series? You're saying KD can get one game now? There are 3 games left. If you can get one, now it's going to come down to a one-game win or go home. You should be able to get that one too. I'm giving KD a pass because he doesn't have his guys, but you should hold him to the same standard you hold Giannis.
Well, first of all, that's a very ignorant statement for a couple of reasons. Number one, KD, give me KD with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and I still would have picked him. What I'm saying to you is this. When I get on Giannis, I get on Giannis for 2 things. Number one, his perimeter shooting or lack thereof. And number 2, the fact that you called him the best player in the world. Those are the things that I get on Giannis about. In terms of, I never picked Giannis to win this series. I said Brooklyn all day, every day. I said Brooklyn at the beginning of the season. I said Brooklyn coming into this series. And I said Giannis against KD, it's no real match because he can't hit perimeter shots. He needs somebody else to do that for him, particularly in tight playoff competition, because he can't make those perimeter shots. And I think that's been proven true. Even though Giannis is big time, that's his Achilles heel. The case with Kevin Durant, Joe Harris can't hit shots away from the Barclays Center. Blake Griffin suddenly looked like he was in Detroit again. Okay, Jeff Green just returned after being out throughout the playoffs because of his injury. And again, whether it's Kyrie or James Harden, I've been on the record stating just one of them with him, KD will win. But to ask him to win this series without them, I think is a bit much. But again, you take one game at a time, and in my opinion, he should be able to deliver the goods tonight. One game to force a Game 7 back at the Barclays Center. He should be able to win one game.
3 things. 1, I said Giannis was the best player in the world because he was the reigning regular season MVP. And as a prediction, I thought he would do well in that playoffs. He did not.
You highlighted how others won the league MVP, but they weren't the best.
I get was, well, given his age, his size, the kind of player he was, that was predictive on my part.
You were the only person on the planet that didn't know that he didn't have a jump shot.
Sometimes you make predictions that are wrong. And when the series was over, I was like, okay, my prediction on Giannis was wrong. That's number 1. Number 2,
when the series
if
was
KD,
it was when the weekend was over.
If KD had Middleton and Drew Holiday and Giannis had Harden and Kyrie, Giannis's team would win. Absolutely, Giannis's team would win. If he had Harden and Kyrie. That's 2. 3, you are saying...
True. I don't think that's absolutely true.
You are saying KD is the best player in the world. You said he's number 1, right? Let me just remind you again. LeBron in 2015, no Kyrie for one game, no Kevin Love. So no games, one game with Kyrie, no Kevin Love. And they lost the game with Kyrie with Matthew Dellavedova as his main support. Took the Steph, Clay, Dre Warriors, Iggy Warriors 6 games. 6 games, won 2 from those guys.
Max.
Let's see, Kevin Love has more around him than LeBron had that year.
How many times have I told you to be quiet about that particular series? That the Golden State Warriors had never won before. They were babies. So when Kyrie got hurt the first year, and Kevin Love had gotten hurt in the series against Boston, that forced him to miss the remainder of the playoffs. LeBron was the one with championship experience. He was the best player in the world at that time as well. And he was going up against a relatively young squad. So winning 2 games against them wasn't as significant as when he won later on.
Stop right there.